L-70 anti-aircraft gun is one gun system that has played an important role as far as defense of the military installations here in India is concerned. We know that how this gun is capable enough to neutralize any sort of aerial threat, be it drone, UAV, aircraft or any sort of missile in fact. But as far as the functionality is concerned, so you are seeing these visuals where this gun can in fact rotate 360 degree and can decide several sort of angles on the basis of threat that is coming towards the area. In fact, it has got integration with Akash system that in fact decides and in fact sends a message on the sort of threat that is approaching. We have heard of gun systems, we have heard of command and control centers, but not much has been spoken about the radars that were used by the Army Air Defense units of Indian Army in fact. Today I'm standing in this forward location and I'm showing you this radar that is fire control radar. It basically helps gun systems like L-70 to choose the target and in fact to point towards the target and decide the direction that in which direction it will fire to neutralize that sort of threat. So these are the radars that have played an important role. Once again, I'll show you the visuals. This is fire control radar that controls the fire. In fact, that coordinates with the gun systems like L-70 and gives you the direction, gives you the point where you have to target. I'll show you those visuals as well. This is one early warning radar. So the range is quite high and it gives you an early warning that a threat is coming towards your direction, and then it will further coordinate with this sort of radar, which will further in fact give data to systems like Akash. Akash will further collaborate with the sort of data that it has received and will further send the message to gun systems like L-70 and Zu-23. We know that how Army Air Defense has played an important role in the entire Operation Sindoor, and with systems like this radar and in fact Akash, this was made possible.
This vehicle is a platform which houses 3 crew basically and 7 other infantry soldiers. We can take them up to the battlefield and use them as ground soldiers in infantry role.
Right. So camera person Arjun is showing you these visuals where these ICVs in fact were sent close to LC in fact to retaliate to the sort of fire that was in fact coming. This is one vehicle that is in fact being manufactured in India now. This is infantry combat vehicle, a very part of mechanized infantry. And as far as these arms are concerned, so we know that how not just mechanized infantry, but armored and in fact the infantry bang on LC, where we have our forward posts, were very much a part of the entire operation, where retaliation was given to the sort of fire that was coming from Pakistan. In the historical context, Akhnur is known for the tank battle that happened between the troops of India and Pakistan back in 1965. But during Operation Sindoor, now in 2025 in fact, the tanks were very much used by Indian Army. This time they did not cross the LC but were very much retaliating to the sort of fire that was coming from the other side. In fact, I am standing on one T-72 main battle tank which was indeed used in this operation and in fact in the Akhnur sector itself. Today we have these sort of modifications that have happened because of the new age warfare, where we have drones coming from the other side, where we have UAVs coming from the other side. And when on 8th May, 9th May and in fact on 10th May the violations were happening, these tanks were moved to the forward locations and in fact were very much used by the armored core of Indian Army. The troops are already all set for any sort of eventuality. But as far as this tank is concerned, so we have got multiple guns. This is anti-aircraft gun. You can see one officer in fact is very much deployed with this gun. There we have one machine gun as well. In fact, yes, there we have one machine gun as well. And this is the main gun that has got in fact the range of at least 5 kilometers. We have been told that when this violation was happening and when there was an escalation from Pakistani side, at that point in time these tanks were moved to the forward locations. They did not cross the line of control, but they were indeed moved to the forward location and were very much used in the Operation Sindoor. In fact, the officer is mentioning about the sort of modifications that we have for these tanks. In fact, this is one main battle tank that is historically used in the sort of wars that have happened between India and Pakistan. And this time around, during Operation Sindoor, in fact, the tank, in fact, was used against Pakistan for the sort of violation that it was involved in. And in fact, retaliation was sent using these tanks. One AMC officer, in fact, who is very much attached with mechanized infantry unit. And we know that how different arms, in fact, of Indian Army have worked in the entire operation. We know that how Army Air Defense was a very part of the entire operation, where guns like AL-70 and in fact Zu-23 were used. But now you are seeing this ambulance, in fact the tracked ambulance that has got several sort of capabilities, and in fact one female officer who is in fact responsible for the entire operations of this particular vehicle that was given charge of taking care of the troops that are there with the BMPs or the other platforms of the mechanized infantry. I'm standing in one surveillance room here at one forward post of Indian Army that is very close to the line of control, and I'm showing you these visuals where you have multiple screens. This one screen is of course telling you about the sort of vehicles that are active in this particular area. The other screen similarly is telling you the sort of radio sets that are in fact active in the area, and there you have third screen that is giving you the sort of view from all the cameras that are in fact placed and deployed there. In this particular camera you are also seeing the AOS system, there you have, and this particular screen is also informing you on the sort of activities that are happening. It is basically an indigenous system that will inform you on any sort of suspicious activity. This is one crucial aspect of the sort of practices that in fact have been opted here in the forward area. So infiltration attempts were there, but these attempts were thwarted because we have got technology, we have got all these cameras. Once again, if I can show you these visuals, these are screens that are somewhere giving you an idea of the sort of things that are available. For example, vehicles, the radio sets, in fact the sort of communication that is happening, and also the kind of movement that you are tracking here. This is one system indigenously developed by Indian Army, where it is detecting any sort of movement that is happening in the entire area and will notify you for that. We have in fact the officers deployed here 24/7. In fact these officers are keeping an eye on everything that is happening close to LC, and in fact are taking calls based on these activities. I'm standing at one forward post of Indian Army, in fact in Akhnur sector, and in fact this is one gun position. And the violation that we have seen in the past few days, specifically during Operation Sindoor. So this is the place from where in fact Indian Army Jawans were retaliating, and this is one heavy machine gun that was in fact used to retaliate to the sort of fire that was coming. I'll try to talk to the officer as to what was their role as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, and in this particular sector, the Akhnur sector, what was the kind of violation that we were receiving. We know that how Pakistan was involved in heavy shelling. In fact the heavy caliber guns were in fact used, but from Indian side what was the sort of retaliation and what was the operation for these जवान्स. I'll try to talk to them. सर क्या नाम है आपका? अगर नाम ना ही बताएं, ये भी बता दें कि जिस तरह से हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में पार्टिसिपेशन देखा है, इस यूनिट का इस जगह से आप लोगों का पार्टिसिपेशन किस तरह का था?
सर जैसे ऑपरेशन सिंदूर भारत द्वारा लॉन्च किया गया, उस दौरान मतलब उस टाइम तक हमने काफ़ी सारे तैयारियां यहाँ तक कर चुके थे, जबकि हमारे जो जवान हैं टैक्टिकली मेंटली पूरे तौर पर फिट थे और बिल्कुल एग्रेसिव भावना के थे, और जितने भी अग्निवीर हैं वो भी बिल्कुल बढ़ चढ़कर यहाँ पर हिस्सा ले रहे थे। तो जितने भी हमारा जो इक्विपमेंट है, वेपन है, काफ़ी वेल साइटेड थे। तो जैसे ऑपरेशन सिंदूर लॉन्च हुआ, उस दौरान हमारी जो खास करके इस सेक्टर में कोई पाकिस्तान द्वारा कोई फायर नहीं हुआ था। जैसे 10 तारीख, मतलब 10 तारीख तो कोई फायर नहीं हुआ था। 10 तारीख की सुबह मॉर्निंग 5 बजे पाकिस्तान द्वारा सीज फायर की उल्लंघन की कार्रवाई हुई, जिसमें काफ़ी सारे वहाँ के गोले हमारे इर्द गिर्द गिरे, मतलब इर्द गिर्द मतलब आसपास में गिरे, जो कि इफेक्टिव नहीं था। उनके जो इस प्रकार के जो गोले गिराने की जो कार्रवाई है, वो खुद को लग रहा था कि वो मतलब बिल्कुल नाकामयाब है। इसके चलते वो लोग कुछ खुद डोमिनेशन हो रहे थे। इसी के चलते हमारे जितने भी फॉरवर्ड लोकेशन में डिप्लॉयड इस प्रकार के जो हथियार हैं, तो बिल्कुल पिन पॉइंट था, बिल्कुल एक्यूरेट हमने एम करके रखे थे। तो उनको डोमिनेशन करने के लिए हमने फिर फायर रिटेलिएट किया और उनको जल्द से जल्द उनको पिन डाउन किया। इसके साथ साथ हमारे जितने भी एफडीएल वाले जो लोकेशन में जो भी पोस्टें हैं वहाँ पर लगे गन्स एक साथ में उनके ऊपर फायर किया और उनको पिन डाउन किया। साथ ही हमारे जो आरटी है, एडीज है, उनके द्वारा भी पीछे के इलाके से फायर किया गया, तब वो शांत बैठे।
This is the bullet. Look at the size of the bullet. This is one heavy caliber weapon, and in fact, Arjun will once again show you that sort of view. This is towards LOC, line of control between India and Pakistan, and the extreme 3.2 kilometer is what the line of control is from this particular location. In fact, the ridge line, if Arjun is showing you that ridge line, the initial ridge line is basically the boundary, is a feature that is somewhere denoting the line of control between India and Pakistan. And across that particular ridge line, we have Pakistan. In fact, their watch post. This is the gun position, and in fact, the gun that was very much used in the sort of retaliation from Indian side. We know the sort of violation that happened from Pakistan, and it was retaliated. And Indian Army, in fact, gave a befitting reply. Operation Sindoor was a big success for Indian Army. This operation has somewhere showcased the sort of capabilities that the force has got. And today we are standing in one forward location from where I'll try to show you the visuals of the line of control between India and Pakistan. And we'll also try to describe the sort of scenario when we had violation from the other side and how troops were retaliating. In fact, at this point in time, video journalist Arjun is trying to give you a sense of the sort of visuals we are seeing from here. The first ridge line that you are seeing in that particular direction is basically the line of control between India and Pakistan. And there we have been given to understand that the rough distance is around 3 kilometers, and beyond that is the enemy. In fact, on that particular day, when we had the action unfolding from Indian Army's side, on the next very day, we had violations from Pakistan, and in fact, they were using high caliber weapon as well. We know that how intense the violation was, and we have seen in the past as well that after DGMO understanding, the LC was quite peaceful. But in the recent scenario, the violation was happening and Indian Army was retaliating to that sort of violation. In fact, this is the very post from where retaliation was given to that sort of violation that was happening. Manpads are important and reliable. Operation Sindoor has once again proved that these surface-to-air missiles are very important and have played a crucial role in taking down the sort of aerial threats that were coming towards India from Pakistan. In fact, I have Igla missile in my backdrop and I'm showing you these visuals. Surface-to-air missile that has got a range of 5 kilometers, and in fact, that has played an important role in taking down all those aerial threats that were coming towards military installations and other important places during Operation Sindoor. These systems in fact use these signatures to lock on the target and further neutralize that particular target. We know that how India has received in fact these missiles recently. In fact, an additional lot came recently, and we have been seeing that how traditionally, in fact, the country has been using Igla for quite some time now. But in Operation Sindoor specifically, these missiles have played a crucial role, and Indian Army's air defense, in fact, has played a pivotal role in the entire Operation Sindoor, when they have taken down at least 600 drones along the western border. These drones were targeted towards the military installations, towards the crucial places in India, but none of them achieved the target.